Hello everybody, I'm Frank Shelton and welcome to our first ever Facebook Live seminar. And we're coming to you live from our UBuildIt studios, formerly our planning room here. And so our staff has been working this week to bring this to you live. And so this is the first time ever we've done this. So if there's any pauses or glitches, just know that we're working behind the scenes to keep that going. And hope you enjoy our presentation tonight. Tonight I'm really going to try to share with you what UBuildIt can do for you and hopefully give you some information that will help you make a decision on whether or not building a home now or in the future is going to be the best thing for you. We're going to talk a little bit about what to look for in getting plans and land and banking. So I think this is going to be a really informative seminar for you. Of course, I'm going to talk to you about UBuildIt, but I think you'll come away with this with just some good general information that will hopefully help you in whatever you decide to do, either remodeling or building a home. So with that, I'm going to get into the presentation, and there'll be just a brief little transition here. Okay, there we go. Well, a little bit about us. We've been in business now since 2007. And nationally, the UBuildIt franchise itself has been going since '88. And so a lot of experience, a lot of different types of builds all over the United States. Locally, we've done over 300 projects, and nationally, thousands of projects. And just really just any type of home that you could imagine, from log homes to homes on stilts, basements, SIP panels, ICFs, so really any type of building method that you may have an interest in. Our network of franchisees can aid all of us in whatever type of building need that you might have. So that's a great thing about being part of a national franchise like what we have with UBuildIt. You're going to receive professional guidance from us. Our system, we're going to talk a lot about tonight. It works. 100% of the time you do what our system lays out for you, you're going to have success. So let me get here to my clicker here. We'll go to the next slide. What I'm going to try to show you tonight is how you can build with equity, save money, minimizing mistakes. We know with any custom home project, your house never has been built before, that there's going to be things that when it starts getting set up in the real world, that there's going to be opportunities there for you to go, hey, what do I do here? And we're there to help you minimize those mistakes that may cost you money. Control the quality. Ultimately, we put this in your hands. You're going to be in charge of the day-to-day. So if you don't like the way something looks, you're the ultimate judge of what you want to keep, what you think is quality. And so we find that our clients really enjoy that part of it. And so that they know that every stick that was put in their house, they made the decision on whether or not that was what they wanted. And so we're going to talk a lot about saving money, but I would say probably A1 reason people use us is that they want to have more control over their project. And so that's a big part of this. And then, of course, protecting your investment. We'll talk about the opportunities for warranty and some of that stuff, whenever you come and meet with us in person or scheduling a Zoom call after this. This being a seminar type situation, a lot of this I'm just going to hit briefly on, but we certainly want to go into more details with you whenever we meet with you one-on-one. And so, and then of course, some of you I think right now probably have already submitted some questions to us. I'm going to try to answer those as we go. And then there'll be an opportunity at the end of this, if you have some questions, just to simply type those in, and Caitlin's going to give those to me, and we'll try to answer those for you at the end. Excuse me. So we're going to show you various financing options. So a lot of times people don't understand that just a construction loan, building a custom home, it's different than just going to a house that's already built that you may buy, that's already been lived in, or it's in a community, one of a production type built home. So there's going to be some different things for you to know. So we do a really good job of explaining what those differences are. We have some great lending institutions that we recommend that are familiar with our program and that can help you with doing a construction loan and also your permanent financing. Early planning. Guys, can't say enough about this. This is really what I try to really hit home with everybody that I talk to it's important to spend a lot of time in the planning phase. The better job that you do in that planning, the better your construction will be. And so anytime you've ever heard anybody say something about that they didn't have a good build experience, if you chase that back to the beginning, I would say that a lot of times it had to do with them not doing a good job of planning. Either they were rushed by their builder or they rushed the project themselves, whatever the reason, but planning is the key to success. And so, and then we're going to tell you what you need to know whenever you're buying the land. A lot of you out there haven't bought land, and so we're going to talk about those things with you as well. So let's get into what the differences are. What's your options as a person wanting to possibly build a home or even do remodel? We do remodels as well. So if you're looking at us and you're thinking about remodel, whenever I'm talking about building, just know that I'm also talking about remodel. It's basically the same thing as far as our system goes. So right now you have the option of going and hiring a builder. I'm not going to say anything bad about that. That is a great option. I'm still a builder. We build projects every day. And so for people that just really want to, have a custom home built for them, that's a great option for you. People that we're talking to, more than likely, they want a little bit more control. They want to try to save some money, or they want to possibly do some things themselves, or it's just something that they've always dreamed of building their own home. And so again, won't say anything bad about someone wanting to use a builder, but there is some things that I want to point out as a difference between our program and hiring a builder. And then the obvious thing too is if you did it completely on your own, the DIY, doing it yourself. And so we've seen the TV shows, we think it looks great on TV. So, but there's some things that you're gonna have to realize are a part of that. And your experience comes into play, or lack thereof. Mistakes, they can be costly. Unknown subcontractors, what are you gonna do? To find the subcontractors. There's services out there, but they're going to probably treat you like it's just your one project. And then the amount of time that it's going to take. Having to go online and figure out what does the schedule look like? Do you have checklists? And so doing all of that stuff yourself without any help from anybody, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about doing it yourself. The builder option that you have, usually you give up some control. They're going to want to run the project. They're going to want to, handle the day-to-day. They're not going to want you to, run out there and buy, second materials or order stuff online. They're going to have places that they want you to go. And a lot of times builders, they have a certain method that they like to use, or, certain type of house or energy packages that they want to do. And so they're going to limit a lot of times the amount of choices that you have. And then of course, any savings, a lot of times the builder's not going to turn around and pass that on to you. He's going to keep that for himself. And so obviously the equity position is a concern too. Most builders nowadays are charging, 18 to 22%. And you put that with the cost of a build project. Obviously that makes it harder for you to be in an equity position. But with our UBuildIt program, what we've done is really we've taken the best of both of those worlds, if you will. We found that it's the big thing is, okay, I want to build this house, but what do I do? So having someone alongside you that has the experience, that's what we're lending to you, is our experience. And that gives you the confidence that you need to do to build the house. And so that we feel like is a big thing with our clients, is just they wanted to do this, but they wanted that little bit of help that that they felt like they needed, and we're there for them for that. We leave you in control. We're never going to tell you what to do. We're going to tell you, hey, these are what we think your options are, and give you advice on what we think would be the best. But ultimately, it's your decision. It's what you want to do, how you want to do it. The cost savings, any cost savings that you come up with, if you're able to go out and do something, haul your own trash or paint your kids' bedrooms or put on your own doorknobs, those are things that you can do to help save some money. And if you want to try to look for better deals, that's an option for you too. I know a lot of our clients through the years have had someone that they know, maybe a family member or something that was in the trades or supplies that they need for the house that was able to give them a deal. And so they were able to take advantage of that. So all of that gets to come into play. So it's really everybody coming together to help you get the best deal, help you get what you want for the type of home that you want. And then the clout, you get our buying power behind you. As I said, we've built, over 300 homes here in the Metroplex. People know us, subcontractors want to work for us. And so you get that buying power behind us. So when I was talking about in the do-it-yourself model there, finding a subcontractor and them coming out, they know that they're working for you in the UBuildIt program, but they also know that we're the reason why that they got the referral or the job, and so they want to make sure that they do a good job for our clients, and so that gives you clout, and so that I feel like is a very, very important part of our program. And then choices, like I said earlier, any type of building method that you've heard of that you're interested in, run that by us, and we'll talk to you about the pros and cons of it. And if it's something that we've never done before, we'll tell you. We'll reach out to some of our network and see if there's anybody else that's got some experience with that. But we'll get you the information that you need to help you make a good decision. But there's 13 years of doing this locally and 25 years personally of construction experience. There's a lot that we've seen and done, and so we bring a lot of that to the table. So how we do it, we break it up into a planning phase and a construction phase. The planning, I'm going to spend most of the time talking about because I feel so passionate about what that means to your project. So let's get into that. The planning part of this is really putting pieces of a puzzle together. We feel like there's really 5 major components of that. Setting a realistic budget is probably number 1. So I'm going to tell you just straight up, the days of building a $75, $85, $95 a square foot house, those are gone. And so it's important a lot of times for us to sit down and have that first conversation with you and help you set a realistic budget. And so I would tell you the first thing that you need to do is to look at your finances, look at what you're wanting to do, and ask yourself what you really can afford. And that's a good place for you to start. And then talk to us about what those goals are, and we'll see if we can do whatever we can to help you get there. The land part of this, let me stop here and get some coffee. The land part of this is a big component, and it's been our policy for years now to go out and take a look at the land with you free of charge. And so if you haven't bought a lot or a piece of land, use us. Please let us come take a look at it, because we've seen so many people buy land, didn't realize what it was going to cost to develop that land, and it really was expensive for them. And so ultimately that dictated what they could do on their project, because they just didn't realize how much was going into that. Plan design is another thing that's a big part of this. Not all 23, 24, 2,500 square foot houses are created equal. The design that you pick may increase your budget. And so we want to talk to you about those things. And then specifications. In today's world, appliance package could be $4,000 or it could be $50,000. So knowing the details, the specifications, is important to determining what your budget's going to be. So, and then the completed project costing, we help you with all of those 5 pieces of that. And when we're done with that project costing, that's at the point that you go to the bank. So let's talk about this and how this all looks. So this triangle, you'll see it all over our office if you ever come into our office. With the way things that we do now, we give you the option of not having to even come to the office. We're able to do a lot of our meetings over Zoom if you feel more comfortable with that. But our office is still open, and we take the necessary precautions with you here in the office. And so if you feel more comfortable coming to us, then that's great. But we're also have meetings available over Zoom. But if you're ever in our office, you'll see this triangle, and it's just really a good illustration of what a project looks like. So if you came to me and said, Frank, $250,000, $300,000 is our budget, that's the most important thing. Well, that gives me 2 parts of the triangle that I can work with, square footages and finishes, to help you achieve your budget. If you come to me and say, my budget's $300,000 and I've got to have 2,500 square feet, then that really only gives me one part of the triangle to work with, and that's going to dictate the type of finishes that you have. And so you can kind of see quickly what I'm talking about there. So everything that goes into your project falls into one of those 3 points of that triangle. The budget, like I said, is a big part of this. And so size, features, having some realistic parameters, how much work you're going to do yourself. It is not a requirement, but a lot of our clients will do things themselves. And obviously we want to talk with you about what you're wanting to do. Sometimes people have really ambitious goals and don't realize, how much that could really be. And so as a safety precaution, we still put, like if you wanted to paint your house, we still put a paint budget in there for you. We still get you a bid. And so if you get down to it and you've got these, ambitions to paint your house and you realize, man, we're just not going to be able to do that. We don't want you in a situation where that money was not put in your budget. So we're going to have that in there for you. And so either way, you're going to be protected. And so talking to you about those things and making those things fit in your budget is a big part of this. Getting a ballpark early on. So when we talk about ballpark, what that really means is that the more we know, the closer we can get to giving you an exact number. But early on, you don't know everything. You don't know, sometimes people don't even have plans yet or land. And so we've got to hit some very, broad strokes here with what, you can, have for a budget. And so we call it a ballpark. So just literally what it sounds like. We're just trying to get somewhere in that ballpark with very little information. And so when we first meet with you one-on-one, we're going to talk about that and try to give you some guidelines on what the budget would look like. And then with that, what you really are wanting to do is go get pre-qualified for financing. And so we'll give you people that you need to talk to at banks, because a construction loan is a little bit different to qualify for. And so how much money down, the amount of information that the bank's going to need, you want to know that early as possible. It's super important. And so having a ballpark budget helps you kind of determine, hey, is this something that we can realistically, come up with the money down for and then ultimately handle the monthly payment whenever it comes to the mortgage. So we're trying to get you as much information as early as you possibly can. So it determines really what you can do from a land standpoint, a plan standpoint, square footage, specifications, all those kind of things. Property, briefly touched on that already. So finding property these days is, if you don't know where to look, can be an opportunity for you. We have some resources to help you find land, and so please reach out to Caitlin if you're at that stage too. We can help you find land, but the land itself, what is it going to take to develop it? That is the biggest thing. So like I said earlier, we want to go out as early as possible. Sometimes people have it narrowed down to 2 or 3 lots, and I'll go out and I'll look at those 2 or 3 lots with them and help them make a decision on what's going on. Sometimes I even know generally, depending on where it is, what's a good deal, just because we look at land so often. So not a guarantee every time on that, because sometimes people are in new areas that we haven't built in before. But if it's an area that we've built in before, hopefully I can help you with that as well. But at the very least, talk to you about what it's going to take to get it ready to build a house on, give you some things that you need to go do as far as homework assignments, finding out about utilities, those type of things. So really, really important. Here's a good example. On your slide, it's going to show 2 properties, one with a bunch of trees on them, and the picture is hard to see the degree of slope on this, but it's significant. I tell people, that you had to be part billy goat to go up and down the side of this hill. And so the client had bought this before they came to us and got a really good deal on the lot, but didn't realize the amount of development that it was going to take. So that, and this has been several years ago now, was over $60,000 just to get it ready to build a home site on. And so he didn't know that, and so that greatly affected his timeline and the amount of money that he could spend on the house. So again, I hope I'm not hitting that too hard, but it's super, super important. Let someone that is going to be helping you with the build process look at that land before you make the decision. And then the other one with the one tree in the middle there, everybody always says, hey, it's a perfectly flat lot, so that's great. And it is, that's what we're looking for. But the thing about this one, it was perfectly flat. And so if you can tell from the picture, there's a little green area there. So it was so flat that water didn't drain off the lot. And it sat right there in the middle of the lot. Well, guess what? That's where the house was going to be. And guess what? The beautiful tree that's there, this was in the fall, but it was in the spring and summer, it was a beautiful tree. That's where the house is going to go. So we had to take that tree down. So some of those things, just thinking through those before you buy the lot are critical. And so we want to look at it as soon as we possibly can. Plans is another one. And so helping you find the designer that's going to really, fit with your personality. We've got some great designers, and I will tell you, call them all, interview them. Because really the process of having a plan drawn is really downloading everything that's in your head and trying to get that on a piece of paper. And having that connection with someone that's going to draw your plan is really important to the process. And so that's why we have several for you to call and talk to. And so they all do a good job, but it's got to be a good fit for you. Input in the design part of this is really a key factor in what we do for you, because we're going to give you advice and help you identify budget busters. If you go and you have a set of plans drawn and you don't talk to anybody about it, and you come into a builder's office one day and you've already paid for these plans, the reality check comes after you've already poured a lot of heart and soul and money into these plans. And what do you do if that doesn't fit your budget? So we like to be a part of that early plans and talking through all the decisions that you're making. And honestly, it helps us better tell you what the things that you're going to need to know about that project. We understand better what you're wanting. So we're tied in, instead of, at the end of the plan drawing, you're coming into us and we're having to get caught up to all the decisions that you made and why. So it's important for us to know what's really, really important to you, and then that way we can do the very best we can to help you get those things. And then obviously finalizing the plans is the last part of this for our plan section. And we found that a lot of times someone that draws plans, maybe not necessarily all the time builds or understands the build part of it. So there's some things that can cause construction issues. And so we try to identify those construction issues while your plans are being drawn and do a thorough plan review with you. So next thing I want to really talk about here is how much things have went up. And this will help probably better understand for you what type of plan to pick. And so this little study that was done, this is an article from last year, but from 2010 to 2017, the median home price in our market went from $197,000 to $331,000. So things have changed. And so, we see a lot of people now moving further and further out of the cities and trying to get better, deals on land. And I feel like that's why we've been so successful, is because people are understanding that they've got to come out of the city a little bit to, possibly get a better deal on land and get more house for their money. And so I think it's important for you to understand just that how much things have changed in our market. So we talk a lot about, the plan and how that can affect, in our area, there's neighborhoods everywhere that's done by national builders, and those can be some good affordable housing. And a lot of times people will look at those and go, well, I can, the production builder down the road, we can build this house for, $120 a foot, and we want a 2,300 square foot house, but then they show me a house like this, and there is obviously a difference, and so in our world, a 2,800, 2,400, square foot house only tells a small part of the story. If you'll look at this plan, it's a 4-car garage, or a 3-car garage, and a large patio, large front porch. And so when you look at the total area under roof, this is significantly different than this plan. And so comparable square footage, but definitely different in the design and the amount of square footage that's not living space. Those two things really make a huge difference in the cost of this house and versus this one here. And so you see this house here pretty much in every neighborhood around, and it's super efficient garage, patio, porch, all tucked into a square foundation. So less corners, less money, and very little cabinets, and just, it's a good home, but not what we see in our custom homes. You can see a difference here, just cabinet space, amount of bathrooms, porches, like I said earlier. So this is why I talk about that it depends on the plan as far as how much that house is going to cost. Specifications is a big part of this. In our world nowadays, there's so many options for you. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. I mean, you go to some of these tile stores or countertop places, and I mean, it's just the choices are endless. And so there is also a huge difference in the amount of money that you spend on those things. And so knowing all of that, we're going to have several meetings where we sit down with you, like I said, either over Zoom or here in the office, and we go through those decisions with you. And we start at foundation and we go all the way to doorknobs. And so we're going to ask you everything about your home and what you want to put in it. And so there's no set package or predetermined standards. It's all what you want. And so we're going to go through all that with you. And you may say, Frank, well, I don't know anything about lumber or what kind of foundation that I want. We're still going to talk to you about those decisions and give you enough information that you can make a good decision on that. And so, but we feel like it's critical that you understand the choices that are being made in your home. So we'll also talk to you about good, better, best building practices, things that that we really feel like you ought to know and be a part of those decisions. There's new products out there all the time. This is the green board here is called Zip Wall. It's a great product. It's been out for a while now, and we pretty much exclusively went to this. A lot of our clients just really feel like they see the value in it, and so we do that. We'll talk to you about whether or not a tankless water heater is a good choice for you. There's factors that go into that. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Oh yeah, this is just great for everybody. There's decisions that need to be made, and we need to know your situation. So we'll talk to you about that, as well as placement. This was one that was done on the outside. That may or may not be the best place for you on your home. And then like taping windows and putting good quality windows in your house. Those are some things that we'll talk to you about as well. The job costing part of this is after we've done all that planning. So remember, I've been talking about all this, and mostly it's all been about planning so far. So we're at the end of our planning part of this, and so we've got all the information now. We know what it's going to take to develop your land. We know what your plan looks like at this point. We know what the specifications are, how you want to equip the home. And so now what we do is we send that out to all the subcontractors and suppliers, and we actually get the bids for you. So it's not something where we say, hey, you got to go get this bid out now. We're going to get all the bids for you, and that is a lot of work. It usually is about a 3 to 4, sometimes 5-week project just on the bids, depending on the scope of your project. And so we feel like we want to do a thorough job of this, and so whenever you come time to start your project, that those bids are accurate and that they have the information that's on there for you to have a successful project. So we spend a lot of time with that. So at the end of that, we get all the bids back. We'll sit down and go over that with you, and you give us the thumbs up, and we send it to the bank. And so after that point, you're ready to build. So let's start talking about construction. So all the pieces are together. You received professional guidance through this process and received an accurate budget. And we've also taken the opportunity to give you some protection. We built in some contingencies that will help you if you have some cost overruns. So we talked to you about that as well too, and how important that is. So in that construction phase, we will help you with the permits. So if you're in a city or sometimes even the county, it's important to know even counties sometimes will have permit requirements. And so it's something to check out, and sometimes it's just something like a culvert permit, or sometimes it's actually where you need inspections. But cities always, you'll have a permit, and so we'll talk to you about what you're going to need to do if you need help with filling out the information, things like that. But we'll send you to the city offices. Some of them have now where you can get it done over the internet, but we'll give you the support you need to get those permits submitted. Selecting subcontractors and suppliers is a big one. And so what we try to do on the bids that we get, we try to get the bids best fit for your project. But a lot of times people will want to get some additional bids, and that is great. That's fantastic. And so what we also will do is we'll review those bids with you as well, and try to see if everything's apples to apples, that you're getting the same things bid that we had. And so ultimately whoever you use is up to you. We don't make anything off the subcontractors, and so it from a financial standpoint, it doesn't matter to us who you use. We just want to make sure that you're taken care of. And so that's the best thing I can tell you, is the people that we're going to recommend to you. We have a little bit of a hammer to help you if there's a situation that you need some help with. So the phone access, we're available to you by phone anytime you need us. And so you can call us as many times as you need to. We'd love for you to, before you make any major decisions, to just give us a call and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And then we can get you an answer back as quick as we possibly can. Planning meetings, we'll do 3 of these, either via Zoom or on the job site, but they're kind of more of a administrative type meeting where we'll talk about the budget, talk about how the bids have been going, get your checklist from you. But we want to do these just to kind of a pause, if you will, to make sure that you're ready for the next phase of construction. We break it up into 3 phases. And it's just really important to take that time out and to make sure you're ready for the next phase. The site visits, those are regular site visits. We do, in most cases, 23. Sometimes it's a little bit more, but they're kind of like a critical path. And so we want to basically, we want to see what is done before it gets covered up. And so we're going to be there at those critical points, and you will have checklists that you will follow in between our site visits. So you may run 3 to 5 checklists, and then we come out and we run our checklist. And then you run 3 to 5 checklists, and we'll come out and run our checklist. And so it's that process all the way through. And like I said, call us as much as you want to in between there, but that's pretty much how it lays out. And so those site visits, when we're there to help you, see how you're doing, see what questions you have, check out the project, make sure everything's going like it needs to, run through our checklist and make sure you're ready. And then, like I said, also to make sure that you're doing your list as well. The construction phase, as well as the planning phase, we will give you a manual. And these manuals, a lot of people sometimes will say, hey, why don't you just download all that stuff for us? Well, I can tell you this works 100% of the time. The battery doesn't run out, it doesn't lose the connection, and you can see it in the sunlight. And so it's important that when you're on a job site that you have the information that you need. And so I want you to carry this construction manual with you everywhere you go. It's big when we put all the bids in it and all the checklists that you have, and there's step-by-step guidance in there. So it's made to walk you through the whole process. And then what you don't understand, ask your consultant. And so it's a very, very, very good book. It's been very well thought out. And so it's a great part of our system. And like I said, you also get one during the planning phase as well. Here's one of our site visits, just to let you know, hey, we're hands-on. So we're there with a client and we're inspecting what we call a plumbing rough. And so this is before the slab is poured, and we're showing the client what he needs to be looking for. So you'll need a couple of things. You'll need some tools. You'll need a level. You might need a tape measure, a hammer, a hard hat, and and some shoes that are good for construction. And so we'll talk to you about those things, but don't expect you to have to guys, it's not an excuse to go open up a Home Depot tool credit card. I'm sorry, you don't need that much, but you will need a couple of things. And so it can be fun to have some of that stuff. And so we want you to have that to help you with your project. Here we are on a framing site visit. And so we're hands-on with the framer there, helping him understand a little change that they were wanting to make. And so you can kind of see, that we're in it with you. You're not just, on your own there. Slab pour day is a big day. That's one of those things where that's the day to take off of work. It's important for you to be there. Some decisions get made on that day that you want to be there for. And it's also an exciting time. You got to think about it, guys. You've done a lot to get to this point, and that's why they're so happy. They're so relieved. And funny story about this couple right here was one of our very, probably third or fourth house that we did. And we're actually at their house right now, and we're doing an add-on. They're doing an outdoor kitchen that's become so popular, and so we're out there right now. Started framing it today, and so just a good testimony to how the UBuildIt process is, and they loved it and wanted us to be part of the addition. So it's a great thing. So let's just kind of start wrapping this up, and let's talk about the money. Why in the heck do this? The big thing is construction is not easy. There's going to be some work involved, and we talk about it's about 6 to 8 hours a week of time managing your project. Now, some of you out there, you're going to want to be there for everything, so you're going to be there more than 6 to 8 hours a week. And then some of you are not going to be as in tune to everything, and maybe you won't be as much as 6 to 8 hours a week. But over the whole time of the project, most of our clients will spend about 6 to 8 hours. And so we know that is, you're probably already busy, but I've found that busy people are the people who get things done. And so we know that you can do this. There's a lot of money to be saved. This is just a kind of a breakdown here of where you can see the potential savings. Like I said earlier in the beginning, that builders in this area are getting up around 18, 20, 22% over the cost of construction. And then there's also things in there for change orders and maybe percentages that they mark up from their design studio or their tile store or their lighting store that they send you to. So let's just be conservative. Let's say there's a 10% difference. And then labor costs. We know that because of the volume that we do, 25 to 30 houses a year, that we know that our subcontractors give you a very good deal. So we don't mark anything up. So whatever they charge us, that's what you're paying. You're not paying any more for that. And same thing with material costs, no markup. So whatever it costs us as a builder, it would cost you. And the business insurance, this has become a big thing, is that a builder has to carry general liability insurance. You're not a builder, you're just building your project, so there's no need for you to really carry a GL policy. You could certainly get one if you want, but you will have to have builder's risk, but I'm just talking about just the general liability portion, so you're not paying for that, so that's a savings there. And then the sweat equity piece, that's really up to you. It could be potentially as much as 5%, it could be more. It's how much you want to put into it. And so sometimes our clients, they may just do their own house clean or they may not do anything, but then we have sometimes that clients do a lot. And so that's really up to you. But so in this little scenario here, the potential savings was 26%. We feel confident that that you can save 15 to 20, and so I'm always try to be a little bit conservative. But if you think about it, we're talking about $400,000 project. Let's just say it's 3. What if it was only 10%? That's $30,000. What could you do with that $30,000? Would that be more home for your money, or would that just be less money that you spent? You get to make that decision. This is a great illustration of that. The sweat equity, smart equity pieces are the way that you save money. The sweat equity we just talked about, the things that you might want to do yourself. But guess what? What's part of that too is maybe your ability to go out and shop and try to find a better deal, or you're being flexible to go, you know, that's not the exact tile we want, but it's pretty close, and it's 30% cheaper than the tile that we picked out because they've got a truckload of it that they're trying to get rid of. You know, that to me is part of that sweat equity piece, your ability to shop and be flexible and try to find some deals. The smart equity piece is you managing your project, you plugging into us, taking guidance from us, listening to our advice. You know, we don't know everything, but we know a lot. And we've done a lot of projects, a lot of experience. Our field consultant that a lot of you will meet and get to work with has 40 years experience, you know, and so there's a lot of information there between him, myself, our office staff, just tons and tons of experience to help you with that. So plug into us and let us help you. So the two pie charts here really show you, you know, the traditional building method, paying a lot in fees, labor and materials, the same as the other side. But the difference is that white little section of that pie, and that's your decisions. You know, what you want to do. Do you want to just keep that money, or do you want to put it into something? Do you want more energy efficient, you know, insulation, air conditioning? Do you want wood floors everywhere? So I use this example a lot. If you could think about if you went to builder A and had a house built, maybe with that budget, because you're having to pay the builder fee, you only got an entryway of wood floors that you always wanted. Well, with us, maybe you do the whole house in wood floors. That's what the power in what you're doing is. That's the decision making that you get to do. So, wrapping it up, proven system. We're going to help you minimize your mistakes and maximize your time. We know you're busy. We know you've got other options out there. We feel like this is the best one for you if you want to be more involved in your project. Building with equity, a lot of that is about where you build and the type of house that you're wanting to build, but we know this for sure, that building with us, you're going to be in a more equitable position than if you paid a large builder fee to have it done for you. Preferred vendors, we have national accounts. You can go into any UBuildIt across the United States. We give you a UBuildIt number and you can buy bare paint at a discount, and you can do that forever. So it's a great deal. Protecting your investment, we feel like that's a big part of being in control of your decisions. There's warranty that you can purchase also as well. Highly recommend that. Like I said, that's one of those things we'll get into some further detail there. The biggest thing, in sitting where I'm at, 13 years, getting to see a lot of my customers at the end of this, seeing that they really did it, maybe having that apprehension like you probably do right now about whether or not you could really do it or not, but following them all the way through the process, and then when it gets down to the very end, they go, wow, we did it. You know, we were able to do this, and our family said that we couldn't do it. Our family said that we were crazy, but we did it. And so that is what makes this so much fun for us, and we get so excited about it. We love seeing the finished pictures, and because we know what it took to get there. And let us be a part of your project with you. We'll have some fun together and hopefully save you a bunch of money. With that, I'm going to end it there. And Caitlin, do we have some questions?
Can you speak to
the
ones that they sent in, please?
All right, so I'm going to have to get my glasses out here. So she gave me some ones that came in earlier. And so, do you need to survey the lot before designing? How much does it cost? So, a survey is going to depend a lot on the size of the property and the type of survey that you're going to want to do. A lot of times you don't necessarily have to have the survey done before you start drawing plans, with the exception of if it's a small lot and you're wanting to do a house that may encroach on property lines and you're not exactly sure where the property lines are. And so I would tell you that's probably one of those case-by-case situations that we really need to know more. But as a general rule, kind of follow those guidelines. If you're looking at a 15-acre piece of property and you're wanting to put a 2,000 square foot house on it, the property lines aren't going to be super critical from the standpoint of drawing plans. They will be for fencing and other things, but for the sake of that. But if you've got a small city lot and you're wanting to put a 4,000 square foot house on it, yeah, we need to know where those property lines are, so it becomes more critical then. What is our fee? Oh wow, I forgot that. That's an important part. So we charge $6.25 per square foot. Now that is area under roof. So the terminology there is porches, garages, living space. All that combined together is what they call area under roof. You'll see it on a plan. It says AUR. That's what that stands for. And so whatever that number is, take that times $6.25, and that's what we charge. And so out of that, you will take $3,500, whatever that number is, and that will be applied to your planning, and then you pay the rest over the course of construction. So to get started, it's $3,500. You don't pay us you don't pay us another dime until you actually go into construction. So I know that there was another question here about how long should I allow for planning? Do I have to go fast? And no, you don't. We want you to take as much time as you need in the planning, and that's why we don't get anything else until you go into construction. So we're kind of in it with you, and so we just get the $3,500 just basically to keep us from having so we'll have a little bit of money to work with while we're helping you, but we don't really get the bulk of our money until you actually go into construction. So we have the same goals as you do. We want to help you get into construction. So let's see. Is there a time limit on the project? So I'm going to answer this on the construction side now. So if you have a bank involved, the bank is going to limit you on how long it's going to take for you to build. And the other side of it is, I will tell you that once you start, you really need to keep the hammer down. You need to go. When a house sets, things start happening to it. That's when you have theft. That's when you have vandalism or things go wrong. It's hard to get subs to come back whenever a project's going slow. So I will tell you that it's really, really important to, whenever you start, to be able to see that through and try to get it done as quick as you responsibly can. And so I know sometimes people want to do things themselves, and we want you to be able to do that. And that's why it's important to talk those things out and plan those. Some things are easier for you to do yourself. They don't make as big of an impact on the house and slowing it down. And so we'll talk all those things through with you as well. So if we start this and decide too much of a task and want your involvement, what does that look like? So like I said earlier, we still build for people. And so if you, in the planning process, you say, hey, Frank, or Caitlin or David, we would like to see what it would be if y'all just built it for us. It's easy for us to just say, hey, if you just did it, you build it, this is what it costs. If you want us to build it, this is how much that would cost. And we can show you that. We feel like the planning phase does a really good job of letting you know what's going to be expected of you. And so I haven't had anybody that once they actually started construction that said, oh, I can't handle this. So feel like, if you've made it through the planning and you still want to, do it yourself, then you're probably in really good shape. And if you need some extra help, we're there for you too, because ultimately, like I said, our goal is to help you finish, help you get through the construction process. That's how we make our money. And so we're there to help you with that. So there was a couple of questions here about our service area. So really just think about the DFW area. Our office is here in the west side of Fort Worth, over on 820. So we try to stay inside of the 2-hour drive mark. It really, beyond that, it gets kind of difficult to do that. If you're watching us and you're in a different state or a different area of Texas, there's other franchises, so you might want to look at those. But for our Fort Worth office, we really try to stay within about 2 hours of here. And that's a pretty big territory. Let's see. There was one other one here about can I afford to build a house that's $250,000 range, 4 or 5 bedroom? There's going to be a lot of depends on there. The short answer is square footage. 2,000, 2,200 square foot. that would be doable if you can kind of fit the 5 bedrooms. Might get a little bit tight, might get those rooms small, but you could probably do a 4 bedroom, but there's going to be some small rooms in that. But a lot of it depends on the layout. So that's probably a better one-on-one type question. So
Yeah, so we have a question from JC. He wants to know what is the timing to completion of the UBuildIt project compared to using the average builder?
So I will tell you that we've had some clients that probably have done a faster build job than a lot of builders will do, because most of the time builders are working multiple projects, and this is your one project. Now, we do have some projects that, in my opinion, have taken too long, but it's usually because the client wanted to do more of the stuff themselves. So it's going to depend on the client, but as far as the process itself, there is nothing in the process that makes you go slower than a builder would go.
Okay, and can you speak to our energy efficient building practices?
So I am a firm believer in foam, open cell foam insulation. Probably of those 300 homes, there's probably less than 10 that don't have foam insulation. It's a great product, and so that's my number one component of being energy efficient is the insulation. Having an 18 SEER or above air conditioning, having a good quality window indoors, and then thinking about exposures to the sun, porches, how the plan orients on the lot, which direction. So that's part of the planning process and some of the things that we'll talk about with you. Okay. Well, guys, I would say that hope you enjoyed that. Hope I didn't go too long for you. I wanted to give you as much information as I possibly could. So there's an opportunity here for you. If you click on, I believe, the Facebook link there for you to get a online version of our information packet. And so you can request that. And I would ask you also to reach out to Caitlin. I believe her information is on there as well. She handles our sales and all of our contacts, with our clients, and so she's doing a great job for us on that. Got a lot of information, so I would just ask you to reach out to her and tomorrow, and maybe set a one-on-one appointment. Looks like we got something else here coming in.
Yeah, I got one more question.
Okay.
Alan is asking, can pools be added on with the building costs with your help?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think you're asking. Can you put a pool in your construction budget? And definitely can. Okay, well guys, hope you have a great evening, and we hope to see you soon and hope to be a part of your project. Please reach out to us and let us know what we can do to help. Thanks.